The next afternoon, California, Sue and Macaulay sat in Elena's office, the air thick with anticipation. Elena looked up from her papers with a calm, steady expression, a reassuring smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice warm but focused. "We're nearly there. I received the letter from Macaulay's father, and I think it's going to be a tremendous help in showing the court that everyone involved is in support of keeping him with you. The judge will see that Macaulay's father recognizes this is the best place for him, and that should work heavily in our favor." Macaulay listened intently, his hands gripping the sides of his chair. Elena noticed his tension and leaned forward, meeting his gaze with a gentle smile. "Macaulay," she said softly, "when we go to court, the judge may ask you some questions. The most important thing to remember is to be honest and answer simply. You don't need to worry about impressing anyone or saying something perfect. Just tell the truth about how you feel." Macaulay nodded, biting his lip nervously. What should I say if the judge asks about my dad? Or about when I was on the streets?" Elena gave him an encouraging smile. "If the judge asks about your father, you can tell him the truth, that he's happy you're safe and wants what's best for you. If questions about the past come up, it's okay to keep your answers short and focus on the present. Let the judge know how you feel now, how safe and supported you feel with California and Sue." She paused, letting her words sink in, then added, "And don't worry too much about saying the perfect thing. I'll be right there with you, and I'll handle most of the talking. Just be yourself, and remember that everyone here supports you." Macaulay's shoulders relaxed slightly, and he nodded, his eyes filled with a mixture of determination and relief. Turning to California and Sue, Elena continued, "As for the two of you, the main focus will be on proving that you're providing Macaulay with a stable, loving environment. The judge might ask about your household, your daily routines, and how you handle discipline and support for Macaulay's schooling. Keep your answers clear and straightforward. Show the judge the strong foundation you've built for him." Sue leaned forward, her brow furrowed. "Is there anything we should avoid mentioning?" Elena nodded. "Yes. Try to steer clear of anything that could be seen as too emotional or defensive. Some judges respond better to facts over feelings. So focus on the structure and stability you're providing, as well as the support network you've built around Macaulay, including Father Trevors, Lisa, and Macaulay's teachers." She paused, then looked directly at California. "California, there's a chance the judge might ask you about your past struggles. If it comes up, acknowledge it, but don't dwell on it. Reinforce your commitment to your recovery and focus on the present stability you're providing for Macaulay." California took a steadying breath, nodding. "Got it. I'll keep it short." Elena smiled approvingly, then crossed her fingers, holding them up with a small, hopeful grin. "We're as prepared as we can be, and I believe we have a strong case. Macaulay, California, Sue, you've done everything right. Now, let's go in there tomorrow and show the judge what a great team you are." She placed her hand on the table, and one by one, they each placed theirs over hers in a moment of solidarity. California and Sue shared a glance filled with determination, while Macaulay looked up at them, a flicker of confidence in his eyes. Elena squeezed their hands gently. "We've got this. Whatever happens, you have each other, and that's what counts." With one final encouraging nod, she wished them luck, sending them on their way with the knowledge that they were more than ready to face whatever awaited them in court. As California, Sue, and Macaulay pulled into the driveway, they saw Robin and Roy waiting by the front steps, each wearing determined expressions. The crowd of reporters gathered just beyond the property line surged forward, shouting questions, their cameras flashing. California tightened her grip on the steering wheel, feeling a wave of anxiety wash over her. But Sue reached over and squeezed her hand. Robin hurried up to the car as they opened the doors, her face a mixture of worry and resolve. "All right, let's get you inside," she said firmly, ushering Macaulay out of the car and taking his hand. "Just keep your heads down, all of you." Roy moved to California and Sue's side, shielding them as they navigated the barrage of questions and flashes from the cameras. "No comments today, folks," he said firmly to the reporters, his tone leaving no room for argument. "This is a family matter." The group pushed through the throng, finally making it to the door. Once they were safely inside, they all breathed a sigh of relief, the noise outside fading as they shut the door. Macaulay looked up at his grandparents, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and nerves. Robin gave him a reassuring smile, gently rubbing his shoulder. "You're safe now, sweetheart. They're just curious. They don't know you the way we do." Macaulay nodded, but his shoulders remained tense as they all gathered around the kitchen table. The weight of the upcoming court case hung over them, an unspoken presence that seemed to fill the room. Roy poured coffee for the adults as they settled into their chairs, while Robin placed a gentle hand on Macaulay's back. "Tomorrow's a big day," she said softly, her voice soothing. "But you've got all of us with you. There's no reason to worry." Macaulay nodded, glancing at California and Sue with a small, hesitant smile. "I know. It's hard to relax. I keep thinking about what I have to say to the judge." Robin's eyes softened, and she gave him a warm smile. "Well, if I remember correctly, you're a young man of your word. Just be yourself, and everything will fall into place." She stood, heading to the kitchen. "How about a little warm milk to help you settle down?" Macaulay squirmed in his seat, reluctant. "I'm not sure it'll help, Grandma Robin. I don't know if I can fall asleep tonight." Robin chuckled, filling a small pot with milk. "That's because you've never had my warm milk before." She gave him a wink. "I've got a magic touch." A few minutes later, she returned with a mug of warm milk, handing it to him with a smile. "Now, once you've finished, I'll read to you upstairs, and before you know it, you'll be fast asleep." Reluctantly, Macaulay nodded, taking a sip of the milk. After a few moments, he headed up to bed with Robin following close behind, her hand on his shoulder, murmuring softly about the story she'd read to him. Once they were gone, Roy leaned forward, his gaze settling on California and Sue with a calm, steady intensity. "You know we're behind you, right?" he said softly, his voice full of quiet conviction. "Robin and I are here for you, whatever happens tomorrow. We'll stand by you no matter what the court decides." California nodded, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, Roy. It helps to know you're here." He gave them a small, encouraging smile. "You're good people, both of you. And Macaulay, well, he's lucky to have you. The judge will see that. But if he doesn't, if there's any sign that things might not go our way, you just say the word and Robin and I will do whatever we can to support you." Sue reached across the table, placing her hand over Roy's. "Thank you. It means everything to have you both with us." Roy nodded, his expression softening. "We're in this together as a family. Tomorrow is just one step, and no matter what happens, we'll face it together." They sat in silence for a few moments, each of them drawing strength from the other's presence, feeling the quiet, powerful bond that had brought them all together. They were a family now stronger than ever, and tomorrow they would face the court with that same unbreakable resolve.